What's up, friends? Welcome back to the #2 podcast. I'm Glenn.
I'm Simi.
And this episode is going to be amazing.
Pookie.
As always, welcome back to the pod. Please like, subscribe, leave us a comment. We love it. On this week's episode, we are going to be talking about car problems. I have recently been dealing with endless car problems. And I keep seeing people post on social media that meme that's like, when my grandparents and my aunts and uncles used to say, like, if it's not one thing, it's another. And, you know, as a kid, you're like, what are you talking about? But when you become an adult, like an adult, if it's not one thing, it's another. Like, you can finally pay all your bills. You can finally clean the house. You can finally do your laundry. You showed up to work on time. You had your coffee. You quit smoking. You quit drinking. Like, you know, you have your life together. And then, like, you'll wake up and it's like the house burned down. Like, it's just, there's all these things in life that just show up. You know what I mean? So I woke up yesterday and went to run some errands and I had a flat tire. And then it's like $1,000 for all new tires. You know what I mean? It's just like, I didn't.
Well, it's a tale as old as time.
It's a tale as old as time.
When it rains, it pours.
Is that the other saying?
No, that is the tale that is old as time.
Oh, tale as old as time. Rains when it pours. If it's not one thing, it's another. Oh my God, it's three things saying the same thing. Are we old? Like, it's crazy. The money pit that like a vehicle is, you know?
Yeah. So make that money, honey, because
make that money.
Rainy days are here
forever. The other thing is I had to call. I'm very confident as a person and I like a challenge, but it's 100 degrees in Los Angeles right now. And when you have a flat tire and you have to change it, you have to find the jack, you have to find the tools to jack it up, you have to take the lug nuts off, and you have to put the boot on, and then you got to go figure it out in 100-degree weather. And it's like something you don't do every day. It's like something you do once a year when you have a tire problem. And I could not get the tire off yesterday.
I couldn't either.
And do you know what I did?
The lug bolt.
The lug bolt.
The lug nuts off.
Oh yeah, I called you to help.
Yeah, and
it's too tight. I tried for like 15, 20 minutes and I couldn't do it. And I was like, I know I can do this. I was watching YouTube videos on like techniques.
So what did you do?
I had to call AAA. How do people survive without AAA?
Yeah, AAA is pretty clutch.
It's a genius business, like, because you cannot live without it. Because unless you have a drill or like a power bolt doer.
Because even the guy was like, yeah, these are really tight.
I mean, for the guy to say they're tight, like I was out here trying for 30 minutes and then he tried and I said, we can't do this. I'm going to call AAA. So it's insane. Man problems. But I'm sure there's people.
Women problems too.
Women problems too. Oh my God. Yeah. And I consider myself somewhat strong. So it was just like, bro. Yeah. He couldn't even get two of them off with the drill. And then he had to like yank them.
Yeah.
Not fun.
So what's your takeaway?
The takeaway is life is hard and you just have to problem solve.
Make sure you save for a rainy day and put that emergency fund in the fund.
Yeah, because it all comes down to money. If you have more money, you can solve problems faster.
Tale as old as time.
Unacceptable. Anyway, so it's been a crazy week. We're just trying to laugh and relax and chill.
And be positive.
And get through it all.
That's what you have to do is be positive. Have you ever seen Anywhere But Here when Susan?
I think so.
And she's like, be positive.
Oh my God.
I forget the song that she always sings to Natalie Portman. But
I always get that movie confused with the other Natalie Portman movie where she lives in a Walmart or whatever.
Oh, Walmart.
The Walmart Baby.
Trials and Tribulations.
But then there's the one with Susan Sarandon and they're like basically the same movie, but not at all.
Wait.
It's like Anywhere But Here. And then it's like, you know, your Natalie
Fried
Portman
green
films.
Tomatoes.
No. Oh my God. That's another good one though.
No, I don't know why it's slipping my mind. Okay. So fun fact, if we're talking about Natalie Portman.
Fun fact.
I am a huge Natalie Portman fan.
You love Natalie Portman.
I mean, for years.
Pre-Black Swan.
I used to, when DVDs were a thing, I had all her DVDs.
That's crazy. I wonder what happened to all the DVDs. Where are they?
I don't know. I think we either donated them or they might be in storage, to be honest, but we don't use DVDs anymore.
It's crazy.
You know what I find funny with both of us?
What?
Is we have
an attitude problem. What?
That too. We have straight voice.
Passive aggressive. I can speak like a man.
No, but I feel like it's like one of those situations where if you're LGBTQ, you've had to.
Well, isn't it like a people pleasing thing? Like that's why gay people speak.
I think
in a character code switching.
Code switching. That's probably what it is. And it's like, you know, like my brother used to do this thing where if people had accents, somehow in some way he would like take on the accent.
Yeah.
Like, why are you talking like that?
I do
But
that.
like sometimes, like my brother will make fun of me, or he'll be like, "Why are you doing your straight voice?" Or I'll act like normal, and even being like on camera too. I think I used to do like a straight voice.
Or if we hang out with your friends, your voice goes down like 3 octaves.
Really?
You're a different person.
I think it's like if I'm with my boys, like
Yeah.
I'm like different.
Or when you answer the phone and it's a guy that's a straight guy.
Or if
your
I'm like
coworkers.
with my girls, or my friends that are gay, it's like, what's up, But I don't know. It's funny to me that like we code switch like that, or like sometimes
endlessly.
Sometimes like you'll get on the phone to talk to like the AAA guy and be like, hello, yeah, we're over here. It's just like, why do we do that?
It's a defense mechanism. Well, because it's like we live in a world where it's not safe to be gay. Like it's not even like you're not legally protected. So it's like if they find out, then it like, it's like your animal instinct of fight or flight.
I wish a motherfucker would, but
the problem is they would. Like there's some crazy people out here. So it's like you have to protect yourself. But it works in both ways. Versus like if you're a straight person, you've never been judged for just existing. So that's why straight guys are just like, this is how I speak. Like, I don't know any different. Why would I change the intonation? Why would I make an effort? Because it actually takes effort. Like I'm a trained singer and performer. You have to like raise the soft palate. It's additional air to be able to speak.
I wish my voice was as deep as yours, though. Sometimes you got a deep voice, but I am a tenor, so
me. Yeah, it's interesting. It's something that not everybody has to deal with, and it's a crazy thing to think about. And even now, like I'm how old I am, and it's like I'm constantly in situations where you're like when I went to more car problems. I had another headlight go out, and I had to go in. When you go and it's like this broy like guy that's like saying shit, talking about girls to you, it's like because they just assume based on the way you look who you are. And then it's like, okay, well, am I going to speak how I normally speak, or am I going to like make myself, speak lower? Because
I can
feel
banter
safe?
with the best of them, like with the boys,
Yeah.
But I feel like I can also banter with the best of them with the gays.
Yeah.
But I mean, I did come out very late in my 30s.
Yeah,
like
super late.
Like 30 years old. So I think for the longest time, you kind of make yourself be a certain type of way.
You were playing a character for much longer than a lot of people these days.
So then there was one point where I tried to make like a bunch of gay friends and like just got thrown under the bus. And I think a lot of people too think that I'm trying to be too straight, when it's just like, I think I've trained myself to be that way for the longest time, to where that's who I am now. Like I can't change now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not that I'm hella straight, because I don't think that at all. But sometimes like the code switching.
Well, the tone of your voice doesn't define your sexuality, just like what you wear 100%. Doesn't define your sexuality.
Because there are many effeminate men that are very straight. Like they're not into men. They love women. Like that's who you are.
And people who make comments about it, like your brother saying that's his insecurity. He's insecure about himself and who he is.
Oh, yeah. And
by saying, you change your voice. It's like, no, I'm just being who I am, like in this moment, just like you're being who you are. And that doesn't affect who I have sex with. Like,
I just find it interesting. I mean, I don't think about it too much anymore, which is like amazing and feels great,
When I drive Uber and Lyft, well, mostly Lyft driving now for money. And so many passengers get in the car, especially guys, and they'll want to talk to me about girls. And I play a character the whole time. I'm not coming out to some stranger. Because it's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they've been drinking, like they're making comments, like they're in your vehicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have no idea who's getting into the car, and they're making these comments out of nowhere. And I'm just like, yeah, totally. Like really, Vegas, like that club, that's crazy. That happened. I mean, I become a different person. You would die if you saw it on video. But it's like for safety. I'm not gonna, because if you're
tell you my whole life story.
I'm not gonna tell you my whole life story. You have no right or need to know my life story. But at the same time, you're coming into my space and I've got to feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And it's like, what do they? And then it's like from their end, it's like, why would you say that to a stranger? You know what I mean? Like I would never go into your car and be like, bro, like.
It's like if you're like really fat and then someone's just like, oh my God, how far along are you? And you're like, I'm 6 months.
6 months.
You're like, is it a boy or a girl? That's really none of your business.
That's a good example. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Okay, but like kind of on the same subject, we're going in now. Like in a corporate workplace, right? You're not really allowed to ask someone how old they are, like in an HR type of.
What's illegal? Yeah.
Yeah.
Protected characteristics.
And it's just like, I think, okay, we're going to get like controversial. But I think that you shouldn't really ask people about their family life either. And I mean, yeah, a lot of people give that information up freely sometimes.
Yeah.
But like asking someone, oh, are you married? Are you?
Oh yeah.
Because it's
You
just
always
like,
get asked that.
not that you shouldn't be friends with coworkers, but sometimes in situations, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, taking off holidays or certain things, like people use their families and their that type of situation as ammunition that they deserve it more than you because they have kids or they have this. It's just, in my opinion, in a business, like I don't need to know your business, and this is what's fair. You know, like, great that you have kids. Because I don't have kids, I have lesser rights. Is that like what it is? I'm not too sure how that works, but, and I get the whole thing of like, if you have kids, you know, you get time off to have time with your kids because that's a thing. And I don't have kids and we don't have kids, and that's probably not going to happen for us, which is fine. Like, in other scenarios, I feel like there's more allowances for people because they have families, which is great, you know, but to use that as ammunition against someone who doesn't have a family, you know what I'm saying? Like, though we do have family and we do have friends, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it takes precedent over another person.
I mean, it's pretty constant. I mean, I feel like for LGBTQ people, I'm sure this happens to women. I mean, I'm sure it happens to men too, but it's like you're constantly in the workplace. They, you know, they find out or they ask, and then it's like, yeah, you're treated as like secondary because you don't have kids. Because how many times have, like, I've had a million jobs, and it's, well, this, you know, and it's nothing against the people. Like, I understand it's, raising children is really hard, you know, like
100%.
You have a ton on your plate, but in the workplace, like everything has to be somewhat fair and equitable. And more times than not, I've had bosses, I've had coworkers where they get to leave early or they get to
a promotion because they have kids and you don't, you know?
Yeah. And that's, you know, shown through data and through time that exists. But, or like when I was work from home, I had a hybrid work environment in the pandemic, and my boss had kids, and the mandate from the corporation was we would rotate like evenly
work from home,
being in office. And I was told, but told that because my boss had kids, that they would get more days instead of rotating. Basically, they would get all the days from home, and I would do the majority of my work in the office because they had to take care of their kids, which from a first layer, you're like, I understand, because the cost of childcare, there's nobody to watch your kids, and it's a pandemic. Like, it's understandable, but it's like you're breaking the rule, and it's unfair to me. Like, I'm risking my health, and you're just making a decision because you have kids. You know, it's like you don't. There was nothing like.
And she made the decision.
Yeah, it wasn't really a request. I mean, there's so many examples,
and it's like,
workplace.
How do you say no sometimes? And it's just
versus if I went to my boss and I was like, you know, my boyfriend is having a family emergency, like, and I need to leave early. Like, am I still going to get paid? I need to go do this. Like, they would probably say no. They'd be like, he can't handle it, and you just need to stay and close. Versus if somebody says, well, my kid, and again, like, I have empathy for all situations. Like, I'm not trying to like have a battle. It's just if we take it out of
those
it,
things.
yeah, and it's endless. Like, it's endless. It's like, oh, so and so gets to do this because so and so, our daycare ends at this time, and it's like, that's why I have this schedule that I don't want. You know, like, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's not always like that, but like a lot of experiences I've had, and we've talked together, and what you've had as well, it's just kind of astronomical how that goes down sometimes. And it kind of makes you have a little bit resentment, but then at the same time, you have an understanding and empathy for that person.
It's
but
crazy.
How do you make that a little bit more equitable? I think people just need to stop using that. Or like, I don't care about your family life outside of work. We need to figure out like, and though you should have empathy about certain things for people, but if you're going to use that every single time, you know, we need to have those like brave conversations sometimes.
I mean, both of these conversations are coming from like a place of extreme privilege and minutia, you know, of like subtle workplace inequalities. Like, we're not saying we are the bottom of the totem pole victims in this situation, because that's not the situation. But like, it is hard. It's like, just, it needs to be equal, because maybe I'm not choosing to have kids, but maybe I want to take care of my health. Maybe I want to spend time with my parents. Like, maybe I want to, you know, it's like in France, they take June off. You know what I mean? Like, we as a society,
they actually like have holidays.
Yeah, like we have, as a society, have decided that we just want to be miserable and then die.
But
and
if you actually use your like vacation or your sick time, you get like frowned upon.
Oh yeah, it's penalized. I mean, there's not a single job
Like
where
you say, it's not going to get penalized because it's like part of it, but like some microaggressions are going to happen.
If you have to ask for permission, the answer is always no. Like that's how it works at any job. Every time you ask, they're like, no, because it's not convenient. Unless you have a boss that's a real person. Like when I was a manager, if they asked, I'd say, you don't even have to ask. Just send me the email. I'll take care of it. I'll work the shift because I respect your time.
Oh, there's a lot of people too, in my opinion, who like act like that, but then in reality, it sucks for them because they have to like find someone to do this, blah blah blah.
No, I would always just work it. I would be miserable because I've been there. Most bosses haven't been there. Most bosses somehow, were there long enough.
Sometimes you could just feel the microaggressions.
Yeah.
In my
and I'm not innocent from that. We're not perfect, but like when it came to time off, if they asked, I'd be like, it's fine.
I don't think I'd be like that though. But some people have been like that.
But people,
anyway,
that's how you earn respect though. Like you respect people's time and money. That's what a job is. That's all that matters. Everything else doesn't matter. You can't expect loyalty. You can't expect, because the company could fire you. All right, friends, this has been a ridiculous episode of the Number 2 Pod. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As always, like, subscribe, leave a comment. We are available on all major platforms. Goodbye.